you haven't built up the why. Like, why are they buying this? Is it important to them?
He said this wasn't really a fluke. Like the whole week we prepare this way. Like every practice we kind of prepare not just for the X and O's. We prepare for situational awareness. We prepare for situational plays that we can focus on what's in the moment. So
when we're talking to people, we're kind of rushing to the app, right? We're trying to get to the numbers fast. Instead,
well, thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm very happy to be joined in the studio this week. Birthday boy, Jean-Pierre Badon.
Happy birthday, happy birthday.
JP, our man JP's in the house. We got John Backron.
How we doing?
Co-host. And then we got Bryce working the
board,
magic hands, producing behind the screen. So, I actually got a story I wanted to go into, but before we get into it, since we're talking about staying in the moment, big moment for you.
What, stay in the moment?
Well, no, another birthday for you. So I mean, I know you downplay it. You don't make it such a big deal.
Well, today's my birthday, but
how old are you now?
27.
Okay.
Plus,
you don't look a day
plus
over 40
years. Yeah, today's my birthday, but it's more important to take care of the business. It's and that's what I realized. Like, we're not working for anyone else; working for ourselves.
Right.
So even today, even if I didn't come in the studio, I was still going to be doing something towards my business. So everyone's like, are you taking the day off? It's like, no, why would I take the day off? Doesn't make any sense.
Are you doing something later for your birthday or just not doing
No.
anything?
No. Because, it's funny that you mentioned that. And we have never, and I'm going on knowing you 5 years, I've never celebrated your birthday.
Well, my birthday always falls on convention.
Yeah,
so we're always at convention.
I know, we'll have like a drink or
It's
a
always
shot
a
or
celebration,
something.
isn't it?
We'll have a drink or 17.
But I know, but if you think about it, the reason why I said I never celebrated your birthday with you is that you were always concerned about the bigger picture. Your birthday, I mean, it's good. You were born, but like, we're here to build a business. We're here to do things. We got to move forward.
Or maybe he just wasn't invited.
Oh, that's probably true.
That was great without JP.
That was actually good.
Highly enjoyable.
He's like, oh, yeah.
Well, last year, your birthday, I mean, you had one leg.
Yeah.
But every time, it is true. Every time we're at the convention, so it's not like you plan something. You're just more involved in your business than worrying about a small holiday for you.
Yeah, well, Derek and Terrence's birthdays are the day after too.
Yeah.
So normally we're always like, should we go get sloppy? And then I'm like, no, we can't do that. Like this is a work trip. We got to take care of work first. And
That's very true.
Speaking of that, just a quick shout out to Dallas Convention. That's going to be the birthday trip around again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys want to come celebrate my birthday with me next year, kind of halfway celebrate it.
Yeah.
National convention is end of January. I don't know.
I think so. It's
January
31st,
31st,
1st and 2nd of February.
Yeah.
So
good enough.
it'll be in Dallas, National Convention. Seats are actually limited this year. It's not as big of a venue as the Lone Depot Center down in Miami, but it's a really cool venue. Lots of great speakers, top people go in there and want to network and learn more about your business. So very important. But even then, it's fell on my birthday every year since I've been here, which is 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
And even then, like at the moment, like I'm happy because typically we've rented a mansion or something. And we've hung out for the week for convention, and even during those times when people are like, "Hey, can I buy you a drink or whatever?" and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have a drink with you, but I'm not gonna get like trash because I still need to function tomorrow. I still need to go to the events,
Right?
Because I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna acknowledge it whatsoever and just focus on bigger picture just tomorrow. Like, there's little things you need to do at the time to stay in the moment to recognize what you're doing for the future.
So do you feel like your birthday is important or no?
It's not, the birthday itself is not important, but I think for my friends and people that genuinely want to spend some time with me, like, I want to make time for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, because I feel like, and I'm kind of with you, like, my birthday is not really, it's not a big deal, like, but more for my kids, I take, their birthday more seriously. For us, I'm just trying to make sure I stay current in my business, make sure everything's good. So
Right.
if I have to take care of my business, that comes before celebrating my birthday. That's how I feel,
Right.
So, I was dialing this morning and made a sale right on live dials on my birthday. And it wasn't because, it's good birthday luck. I just was dialing the phones, bought some leads, and got it rock and rolling, So
Any day is a good day for make a sale, right?
yeah, just put in the work. So staying in the moment, very smart.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna dive a little bit more into that, but Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you guys are enjoying what you guys are seeing, you guys have any comments, questions, please click on the link below. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever it is to help support our cause. We support you as well. Thank you guys very much. Click below. Appreciate y'all. As far as staying in the moment, I don't know did you guys watch football this past Sunday?
No.
No, okay. I don't know if anyone else caught the game, but it was Minnesota against Atlanta. And I thought it was kind of a cool story because move your mic a little bit closer. There you go. Yeah. So Minnesota played Atlanta. And the thing is, I don't even care about those teams. I'm not a Minnesota Vikings fan because I'm a Green Bay Packer fan.
Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers before
Aaron Rodgers.
Before he
Okay,
left and snapped his Achilles. But anyway, the remarkable thing about that story was Kirk Cousins was the starting quarterback. If anyone watched that Netflix documentary about a quarterback, right? Really likable guy. He works really hard. I never knew how hard he worked at his craft until I actually watched the documentary, how much time he puts into his body to try to keep himself healthy. He was all banged up and still like fought the urge to like sit out and just kept going back in and kept taking more punishment because, he cared about his job. So it gained a lot of respect for him beyond just his ability on the field. On top of that, so he was starting quarterback. He tore his Achilles like two weeks ago, and he was statistically having a very solid season. They were on track to make the playoffs, and then he snapped his Achilles. Backup had to come in. The backup quarterback Nick Mullins was actually injured, so he's on IR, so he's not able to play. So they had a 5th round rookie,
That's a third
Jaron Hall. He was a 5th round rookie. He was supposed to be their third quarterback. So he started this past week. So then, he was the only quarterback on the roster. So they traded for Joshua Dobbs. Okay, Joshua Dobbs, journeyman quarterback. He's been in the league for about 7 years. Played for 6 different teams. And the thing is, he's actually a really smart guy. He played at the University of Tennessee. 4.0 perfect student. He was an aerospace engineer.
Wow.
And he actually interned at NASA. So he's literally a rocket scientist.
Dang.
So he didn't need to play football, but he wanted to pursue his dream and wanted to continue to play that. So he got bounced around from a bunch of teams. He played as a backup. He did reasonably well as a backup for most of those teams. So the Vikings basically just traded for him because they needed somebody for the week. So 5 days before the game started, he got traded to the team. He didn't even have his car. He had nowhere to live. Everything was just he's a human being, right? And he's still got things to take care of. So the thing is, the quarterback, the rookie Jaron Hall, was supposed to be the starter. Maybe 2 minutes into the game, gets a concussion.
Wow.
So he was supposed to be their best hope. So Josh Dobbs has to be forced into the game. Just got traded to the team 5 days ago. Didn't know the playbook. He said he didn't even know most of the players' full names. So he doesn't even know his own teammates' names. Doesn't know the plays. And I'm watching. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be bad. And then I've always been a Joshua Dobbs fan because he was always a nice kid and he just always continued to work hard, keep being traded from team to team. But I'm like, all right, hope he does well. Fumbles early on in one of the early possessions. Second play, he throws into the middle of the field, almost gets his teammate KJ Osborne killed. He throws it high into the middle of the field. A couple guys crunch him. He leaves with a concussion. They brought out the cart. They were gonna wheel him out.
Damn.
So I'm like, this is a terrible start. Your teammates are going to hate you because you can't hang your players out to dry like that. So he throws high, gets KJ Osborne out of the game, and then he fumbles another time. And I'm like, this game is going to be a disaster. But then the thing is, he kept going on, and the thing is, he continued to play, and eventually started to pick things up. And then his coach, Kevin O'Connell, who's a backup quarterback his whole time before he became a head coach himself, he said he thought about he was going to panic, except for the fact that his job as a coach is to stay in the moment. His job as a coach is not to panic and not to just start, jumping down the rookie quarterback or the brand new quarterback's throat because he made a couple mistakes, because he's literally all they got left on their roster.
There's no options.
No backup quarterback. Cam Akers was supposed to be, who's a running back, was supposed to be their emergency quarterback. Wow. And then he snapped his Achilles. So it's a brutal game. Yeah. But, as the game progressed, so the thing is, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, he starts going up to Dobbs, and he said he's trying to not overreact, make sure he maintains a calm demeanor, because the rest of the sideline needs to see that they're still competing. They're staying in the moment. They're not thinking about, oh man, we're doomed for this game, or that last play that was a bad play. We gotta let that go. So they just kept pushing, and eventually got to the point where Josh Dobbs started playing really well. Started figuring things out on the fly, and along the way, the thing is he picked it up. He started making some really big plays, and then he ended up winning the game.
Wow.
So I
How
thought
many points?
It was a close game, but I don't remember the exact final score. But it was a back and forth game.
Okay.
And he definitely made some critical plays, helped him win the game. So Kevin O'Connell, that was really telling to me, because the thing is, he could have just blew up, or he could have just been like, let's just forget this week. Let's go ahead and just take the loss, and then we'll come back and get him next week. The thing is, he said, let's just focus on one play at a time.
Right.
Smart. So let's focus on exactly what's in front of us. Let's not think about what just happened. Let's not think about next week. Let's think about it right now. And the thing is, he said he was trained because he feels like his own career was cut short as a quarterback, as a backup quarterback. So he definitely related to Josh Dobbs. But he said, I wish I had not focused on every single throw that I missed, that had a bad pass, or every single practice where I didn't play that great, or every game where I didn't play that well. He's like, I wish I didn't focus on those things. I just focused on being in the moment, because he missed on the enjoyment during that time. So as a coach, now that he became a coach, he recognized, I don't want to do the same thing to my player, for one, but also there's like 53 men on this team that are depending on us.
Right.
So he even had one of the running backs, Alexander Madison, which I don't mean to make this a whole recount of the entire.
No, it's a good story. I like it.
Terrence said 31-28. Thank you, Terrence.
Good job, T. T was watching.
He's a Falcon fan. Sorry. But Alexander Madison said he said this wasn't really a fluke. Like, the whole week we prepare this way. Like, every practice we kind of prepare, not just for the X and O's of the game. It's like we prepare for situational awareness. We prepare for situational plays that we can take care. We can focus on what's in the moment. So he said that they were prepared for stuff like this, and because the coach had preached this the entire season, the entire off season, for the players that have been there for multiple years, he's maintained the same demeanor. So I think that's like number one, it was a cool game to watch, but also two, I think it was a really cool way to watch things unfold in a microcosm. Clearly, football's football. It's not important like real life. Yeah. It's just a form of entertainment. But then if you break down the amount of time that people have to put into practice to make it to the league, the years of training, all that stuff to be able to get to that point, and then once you get to that point, the thing is, you could easily crack under pressure because it's high stakes. You get paid millions of dollars and millions and millions of people watching you. And then you got people on the other team trying to kill you. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, it's really easy for you to break. But then if you stay in the moment and just focus on what's the task in front of your face and then not do anything else, this is how you get a chance to actually succeed. And on top of that, you can see from the mistakes Josh Dobbs made earlier, they built on it. So he was like, okay, well, clearly I can't do this again. So he didn't throw wildly across the middle the same way. And plus, he also settled down on top of that. The thing is, every time they went back to the sidelines, he learned a little bit more and more of the playbook. So the thing is like, all right, let me process what just happened. Let's figure out what we can do to improve on this. And I think that's analogous to what we do. I think sometimes we focus so much on, oh, this client hung up on me. This client didn't pick up. This client never picks up. These leads didn't work out, or whatever the case is. And then sometimes you psych yourself out.
Yeah. Big time.
What you want to and then what you end up focusing on is like, oh, these leads suck, or, it's so unfair, or whatever it is. And then you're focusing on the past now that you can't work on what's in front of you. How often do we hear this from agents? Like, oh, I'm going to take the day off. Things were rough yesterday.
I got killed today.
Yeah. I'll come back at it tomorrow. I'm just going to call it a day.
Yeah. Usually what happens is, you got the three things. So you got the past, the present, and the future, right?
Right.
People tend to get depressed because of what happened to them in the past.
Right.
And then people tend to get anxiety of what they worry about that's going to happen in the future. So the zen is, if you're staying in the moment, dude, you can't think about those two things if you're just in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So if you already got cussed out on, well, that's in the past. But if you would have stuck in the moment, well, you got a next opportunity for a next appointment, next phone call, next next thing, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, a lot of agents, and I'm not sure who's new on the call, but you got to give yourself a shot to get to the people who want to hear from you. So I'll give you an example. For people who know me or don't know me, the good thing about me is I'm hard-headed and I'll stick to a task, right? So regardless if I get cussed out, whatever, I'll go on to the next lead and next call. Sometimes when I listen, I was jumping from Zoom to Zoom in the last few weeks, just listening to other teams and other top producers, right, do their thing. And there's not much of a difference in what they're saying, but I noticed that all of them are doing the exact same thing, and where they're not allowing the past to affect their future, and they're staying good in the moment, and they're not allowing somebody cursing you out affect your day. So if any of you guys have heard me dial, when I get cursed out or whatever, someone says something stupid, I might just make a quick laugh, go on to the next lead quickly. A lot of new agents will hold on to that emotion for too long. It's like, dude, let it go, because it's not doing you any good, because that person could be going through something in their life. You call them at a bad time, anything, a whole range of things could be going on. Instead, you should be focused on, I'm going to dial for 8 hours straight today, or I'm going to dial through 500 leads today, and I'm not going to leave here until I dial through those 500 leads. Right. That's a good way of looking at it. That way you're not looking at every single person like, oh, this person. You're taking on all these emotions instead of just staying in the moment, like what you said.
Right, and we're by no means are we saying you got to be a robot. you can't have emotions, because the thing is,
have emotions.
JP gets cussed out. Like Terrence has people that he feels it's not worth his time because they're giving him the runaround. Jason, everybody, we all go through it. Right. And the thing is, you're still human. So the thing is, the people that are successful are the people that continue to produce at a regular level, at a consistent and high level. They get off the phone with the client, they make a comment, we all laugh, we process it, move on.
Exactly.
And
100%.
There's no like carryover of like, okay, let me try this one. Hope this one isn't as terrible as the last one, because that's the attitude that we see agents carrying, that they're either new agents or they're generally unsuccessful agents, and they're unsuccessful not because they don't have the skill. It's just because how do you expect yourself to perform well if you're carrying all this burden and this negativity from call to call to call?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just more of the lack of activity.
Yes.
That you're judging your day off of one presentation. Maybe it's not even a full presentation. Maybe it's just 4 seconds, 5 minutes. You got cursed out. Right. And then now, instead of dialing for maybe 40 to 50 dials in that hour, that was your first dial and that threw you off, and now you took a break. Mm-hmm. How long is this break now? You go somewhere else, you come back 2 hours later, you've let that slip by.
It's funny that you said that, John. I was kind of thinking of ways that you can kind of play mind tricks with yourself to keep dialing, and you don't allow the negative stuff to affect you. So now when I'm thinking, if you guys ever hear me dial, I'm just trying to have 10 meaningful conversations every day. So when I have like someone, and when I mean meaningful, I'm just talking about I'm providing value. Maybe they don't quite see it, like, oh, the price is too high, whatever. But at least we kind of have some type of meaningful conversation, and I mark that down as one. And I know if I have 10, I'm going to sell 2 or 3 people. Yeah. So that way I kind of have like a goal in my mind to where I know if I keep this in my mindset, hey, if I have 10 meaningful conversations with John, Albert, and Bryson, and with 7 other people, 2 to 3 people are going to buy for sure. So like this morning, if you guys caught that call with the lady that I sold, I think the only reason why I was able to help her, and this was the old lead, probably months ago, years ago, whatever, is that I listened to her problems and I listened to her concerns. I addressed them, and I became sort of like, not necessarily her friend, but someone that she can trust and confide in, to where she was willing to do business with me. How many conversations are you having like that with your clients that you're trying to talk to?
Yeah, and I think for you, you have to be in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. To listen, take the time to actually listen to what they're saying. You got to be in the moment, because you can't think about the future of what to say next. Mm-hmm. Right? Because sometimes I catch myself like, you're talking too slow, especially like senior clients. They're so slow and I talk so fast. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to listen, but I'm too ahead.
Yeah. You already know what they're going to say. You're like trying to rush them through the conversation.
Right. Or I'm coming off from their standpoint now because I'm talking too fast and I'm cutting them off. They're not listening. They feel like I'm not listening to them. I'm losing the sale because I'm not in the moment.
That's very true.
Right?
You're jumping ahead to something which you anticipate in your mind should happen, but it didn't take place for them.
Right, because I just want to get to the app.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
And I'm thinking too far ahead. I'm here. Let's do the app. Client lady's like, John, you haven't sold me, man.
That's true. You haven't built up the why. Like, why are they buying this? Is it important to them? It's important to you because obviously you make a commission off of the policy, but is it important to your client? Have they told you why? Hey, Albert, I need this because I have a 1-year-old son. I have to get a policy in place. If I die, he's not going to have a father income. There's a lot of things that can happen. You got to find that why from your clients. For a lot of the new agents that are on this call, what John said was so true because sometimes I do this, but when we're talking to people, we're kind of rushing to the app, right? We're trying to get to the numbers fast. Instead, develop their why, like ask more questions about the reason why they're talking to you. Hey, Bryson, why do you feel it's important to get this policy today? Did someone recently pass away, or were you just thinking about it for a while, or maybe did you get declined before? Kind of start that conversation of why they feel like they need it now. And then you'll get to the numbers and it'll be a lot more smoother of a close because like John said, sometimes we haven't closed them yet. We're showing them the numbers and they haven't even gone through their head like, oh, actually, I really need this. They haven't, agreed with like, hey, actually, I do need this. Now, can you show me the numbers? We're getting to the close before the clients even close themselves.
And then by the time you show the numbers, that's all they wanted now.
Yeah, then they're
you
on
didn't
to
really
the next.
solidify it.
Mm-hmm. And a good way to do that, so that way your client is not really shopping around. There's different statements that you can use to help get your client in the mindset that you're going to do the shopping around for them. So one of the word tracks that I use, I'd say, hey, Albert, I'm licensed with, and mind you, this is sort of like a white lie. I work with all the A-rated companies in the state of California, right? We're trying to help them get out of their own way. We're going to shop with all of them to make sure we find you the best rate based off of your age and your health. Now, once again, why are you thinking about getting this? Oh, no, I just want to know what, I was looking at $10,000 and they told me it was going to be $200 and some dollars. Okay, well, let me find out more about your health. Now, what's going on with your health? Just slow them down, have them talk to you. Don't let them rush you through the process. And I used to do this a lot. I'm just trying to get to the numbers, hopefully get the app and get it approved. But when you also rush them through the application, sometimes that can cause chargebacks for your business because they don't believe in the policy yet. They don't believe in what it will do for their family.
We used to see this a lot too. I mean, when we used to take agents out training, we had this whole script because the whole script, it was a longer process than I liked.
Works.
But the thing is, you're setting a client up because you're eliminating objections before they come up.
Yep.
So the thing is, there's this whole process to it, and then sometimes agents would just bypass all of that because they want to get to the end. So then sometimes they'll get in and you're supposed to go through this entire script and go through all these different steps within the presentation. And sometimes they'll sit down and then the client will just be like, how much is it going to cost me? And then the agent just pulls out the rate book and just starts
and they get excited. They get so excited.
Whoa. I'm like, you didn't build any value.
Exactly.
They think it was a sale, so they get excited. They're like, "Oh, cool! We're skipping this part." Right. That's what they're thinking in their head.
So
the end game.
If you're not staying in the moment that way, then the thing is you're talking your way out of the entire game.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, also interesting the way that you phrased something. You said you got to find the value, and it's the value to the agent because they get paid.
Yep.
But obviously that's true. We get paid based off of the work that we do, based on the value that we provide. But actually, the thing is, every time you make a sale, it's not even just to get paid, which you will, but it's more about you're staying in business.
Yep, it's true.
Because the thing is, either if you're a new agent and you need the sale, boom, you made some money, go towards your bills, go towards your business, whatever you need to do with it, you're still in the game. If you're at the next level, and the thing is you could be setting personal goals for yourself, or trying to level up, trying to have your best month, trying to improve month over month. The thing is you're staying in the game because that one sale adds to the total amount. So every time that you do that, you're staying in business just a little bit more because being in a commission-based business, and if you're not making sales, you're not really in business.
Right.
You might technically be contracted, but unless you're selling, that's not a business.
Yeah, that's true. And I want to make this point too for a lot of the agents that are I'm speaking from now. Mind you, this is my own experience. It's not saying that anyone else does this. The better you are on the phone, sometimes it's worse for you. The reason why I say that is because, like, I got good on the phone, so I started working less instead of keeping it the same.
A lot of people do that.
You see, so, like, the first year in the business, I was developing my skill set, and once I knew, I was like, oh, man, I got it. That's when I started buying less leads and working less because I'll still get the same result, hopefully, right? Because the skill set has went up. So now what I'm thinking, and I'm actually getting to a different level of my business now, I know how to crush the phones every day. Like, I know how to do it. Now's the time to double down and put in more time and buy more leads and to put more effort into it instead of less. And a lot of agents, once you get good at something, trust me, we all do it. You slow down because you're good at it, and you know you're good at it. You don't need to be like, I don't have to be on a podcast to know I know how to do this. And there's a lot of agents that do that, and then they're like, oh man, some things happened in their business, and now they're fighting. Like, oh man, I got to catch up. And we've all done this ourselves. You know, once you get to a certain point, just stay the same.
Yeah.
So, it happens a lot. And it happened in my business. You know, I got to keep reminding myself, hey, treat it like a normal business. Would you work 40 hours a week with your normal job? You would. If you're a business owner, you'd probably work even more. Open the business, close the business. You probably do 60 hours a week. So that's what I'm more focusing on now, is putting in the time now that I know the skill set is, efficient. I know what I'm doing.
Definitely. Yeah, I think when you level up in terms of skill and you get the same results in a shorter period of time, it's everyone's natural inclination to get there faster and then do less.
And then chill. Yeah,
Right.
It's so true.
So the thing is, I mean, if you really look at it that way, the thing is your skill level has gone up as a salesperson, but your business acumen as a business person has stayed exactly the same.
The same, yeah.
It has not. In fact, you might actually be dumber.
Yeah.
And and I've done this to some degree to my own business, because the thing is, we built up to a certain point, and I was like, cool, and then I kind of just did the same amount of work. It changed a little bit, but maybe about the same. Just thinking, I don't know, let's maintain it. But it actually went backwards a little bit, because the thing is, what gets you to that point is not what's going to keep you there, and it's also definitely not going to be what takes you to the next level.
Right.
So you gotta be willing to make those sacrifices if you care about growing, and if you're in this type of business, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be, unless you either don't believe in yourself or you're not willing to put in the work. Mm-hmm. And I think normally, for the most part, when people aren't willing to put in the work because they don't believe in themselves, they don't believe they'll get the results that they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also, if you're saying, like, where you're at is not what's going to get you to the next level, there's got to be something new you got to add to it.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So you got to seek answers and ask the right questions, but seek out answers for someone else that's been there. Reaching up is really good.
Yep.
Finding out the next person on the next level you want to be at, asking them questions. What got you to break through from here to here? And because if not, you stay the same.
And then
if you stay the same, you go backwards.
Very true. And then for a lot of you guys out there, stop talking to negative people, bro. Oh my God.
Always be the case.
Oh my goodness. Please don't do that. A lot of agents will talk to other agents that aren't producing anything and like, oh man, they talk about all their problems instead of solutions. And the solution is typically just getting better on the phones, because 90% of this business is handled over the phone. So if you can buy leads and get good on the phone, you get good at buying leads, you get good on the phone, most of your problems are going to go away. I'm speaking for myself only, but I know this has to apply to many people. Once you're in the business for a while, you're efficient, you know what you're doing, but you kind of slow down and you stop. Instead of investing more, you invest less. And that's what I've done, is that I was like, man, maybe I can invest less, take care of bills, instead of piling it towards the business. You see, I've taken money out of my business and putting it towards my personal. So I'm like, I can work half as many leads and get the same result. Instead, keep compounding, put everything towards your business, live, minimally, and just keep growing. And I think that kind of hinders people too, because maybe they're not investing enough or reinvesting enough back into their business. They buy leads once or twice, try and get some referrals, buy a few leads. Like, no, just consistently buy every week, Right. So I'm buying leads every week, and then I'm shooting out, hey, Al, you got any extra old leads? I said, I'll work them. I don't care. I'll through 1,000 leads. My old leads and his, I don't care. Who is it is.
Well, yeah, let's jump into that then.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I've bought a bunch of leads in the past, for help agents out, and kind of worked tried different ones. And the thing is, I had this like a bunch of old leads, and I've given it to various agents in the past, and sometimes they've sat around and I don't hear from that agent again. I'm like, did you work it? They're like, yeah, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And then I was like, what time did you call and all this other stuff? And then it's never really a satisfactory answer. He's always like, yeah, no, I worked a bunch, and like people they weren't interested, whatever. And I'm like, if I called them, do you think I would be able to make a sale off of that? And then like they're just like, I don't know, probably not. And I'm like, enjoy your next job. But so I was talking to JP, and I'm like, his lead flow was slowing down a little bit. He was waiting on a couple of things. So then I was just like, hey, I got these old leads. I know that JP's going to work them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
because he's on live dials with me.
Yeah, so, I'll work them.
So I was like, if I give them to you, you want to sell them? We'll do a split. And then he's like, sure. So these are the same exact leads that have been stepped on, that other agents have like been like couldn't get anything out of it, not a single sale. Everyone hung up, no one picked up, whatever it is. Gave it to JP, which it was a rocky start.
It was a rocky start. I mean, it was a rocky start, but it's funny. If you would have given those leads 3-4 years ago, I probably would have had some results, or probably similar results to the newer agents you gave them to. Maybe. I think my mindset towards dialing has gotten better over time. And then also too, a lot of agents who join Zoom, you got to remember, when you're unmuted, you're vulnerable to criticism. I don't mind being criticized as long as I know it's going to help me and go in the right direction. So a lot of people, maybe they might be dialing these leads, but they never get any course correction, and it's stopping them from producing. Albert gave me some leads, and it would start off rough because a lot of the numbers were disconnected, but I mean, we still produce great numbers from those leads, like great numbers. And then I still got more appointments. I submitted.
Well, before we get to the results,
okay, go ahead.
When I sent those leads over to you, I told you that they're old.
I don't care if they're old.
I know.
For me, I don't care.
So what was your mindset or expectation before you started working these leads?
Oh, I would have been like, they're old. Like, do you have anything new? Do you have anything fresh leads? I don't know.
No, but I mean, this actual time.
This actual time. I'm like,
how did you think about them when I was like, I'm gonna shoot some leads your way, see what you can do with them?
As long as the numbers worked, I was fine. That's literally what I thought in my mind. As long as they're connected numbers and I can talk to, it doesn't matter.
So you didn't
opportunities. You didn't go into with the attitude of like, oh, they're old. So how many times have people called them? Like, how old are they? When did they fill it out? Do they still want insurance? I mean, I get those questions sometimes for like age leads, which age leads serve a purpose too.
Can I keep it real to your audience, if that's okay?
No, don't.
It's going to be, this is going to be some, I mean, some people need to hear this. The notes of the last agent, they wrote notes on the leads. I deleted all the notes.
Smart.
I don't care what you did, because obviously you didn't sell them. Like, there was notes on there. Oh, not interested. They wrote different things on there. Speak to them next week. The first thing I did through all those leads is I organized it. I deleted all the notes from the previous agents that worked it, because I don't care. They didn't sell any of them. And then after that, I was just like, all right, these are California. I can call them in the morning. Or excuse me, I'm going to call them a little bit later on. These are Texas. I'm going to call them first thing in the morning because there's 3 hours ahead. I was looking at just the time zones and when I should call them. That's it. There was no, if they're old or not. I don't care if they're old. I don't care if they're mortgage protection. I don't care if they're final expense. I don't care if they're just comparing rates online. A lot of those leads they look like they were comparing rates from their current company. So even if you heard some of my intros of the leads I was calling, I said, hey, it looks like you were trying to get a policy comparison with your old company with your new one. Because I saw what their current company was. So it didn't really matter what the lead was.
You still buy it didn't matter, right, John?
Yeah. It's all the conversation, man.
Yeah. 10 meaningful conversations. You're going to get some deals. So every single day, 10 meaningful conversations.
But I think what people can get out of what you're saying is the introduction is really important.
Oh, yeah.
How you're coming off. So if you approached an age lead of, like, I'm calling you about the life insurance you requested online recently. If you said that on an age lead, what are they going to say? They're going to say, no, I didn't request anything. Yeah. Now you're shutting yourself down.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes I would hear JP says, it looks like here, when you could tell you were calling an H lead, it looks like you were looking to get some coverage in place for yourself. Mm-hmm. So your word track changes.
Yeah.
Which is more open. That type of question, does it matter how long ago they were looking to do it, if they did it or they didn't?
Yep.
Right?
And then
change your word tracks again.
That's smart. I didn't even realize it. I just did it naturally because I've been just dialing so much. I didn't even realize I did that.
That's actually an example of staying in the moment, because you could be focusing on the people that hung up on you, which people do hang up on you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I think it's hilarious, but yeah. But you're staying in the moment because there's people that hang up and say, "Don't remember, didn't fill it out. Thank you, have a good day," and then they hang up.
Yep.
But then you stay in that moment because like you've learned from that particular example.
Yes.
And then you've somehow made the adjustment along the way.
Yeah.
And the focus on how do I make this one better.
Yeah.
I think that's Solomon.
Oh, Solomon.
We're gonna meet you.
Solomon.
Yeah. So
over there scratching things.
what was my point?
Oh, his intro, staying in the moment.
The intro and staying in the moment.
When they hang up, he keeps it going, I think.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that JP does really well is that the client says like, "No, I don't remember," and you're like, "Okay, well, let me just confirm some information,"
Yep.
Yeah.
and then you just keep the conversation going until it jogs their memory. Because for most clients, if you say, "Hey, isn't your date of birth this? Isn't your address this? Isn't your date of birth this?" or whatever, they can't deny that you don't somehow have their information for a reason, right?
Yeah, it's very true. And then also too, there's a lot of things that you can do to keep the conversation going, like what you're saying. There's always some part in the conversation where they'll give you something that you can draw into. Like maybe Al might say, "Hey, I don't really remember doing this." And I would say, "Hey, okay, Al, was a loved one or a spouse or somebody?" I said, "I think my mom might have been looking into it for me." Or then I would just talk, "Okay, well, how old?" And then I would start talking about, he gave me an in. He gave me something to talk about. So I'm going to talk about that briefly with the client, build up some trust and rapport, and then I'm going to get back into my script. Because there's always a point in the conversation where they give you something to where you can draw from and, talk about that for a little bit with them and then keep going. Yep. And it was funny when I said I deleted all those notes, it wasn't to be crass or to say, "Oh, I don't care what they said," but in all reality, no, I don't care, because they might not have had the right mindset when they were dialing those leads to get the proper result.
And it doesn't really matter. Think about it. If you get a phone call from multiple telemarketers, right?
Yeah.
They don't share notes.
Yeah, they don't.
And then even wherever you're at when you pick up, if you picked up, right? Your conversation's not going to like compare to the last one or from yesterday, 2 days ago. They're not going to even remember who they spoke to the day or two before. So whatever the excuse they gave to that last person, they may or may not give it to you this time.
They might not even give it to you.
They might be in a good mood this time, Maybe they just had some candy, some ice cream, they're feeling great. They'll carry on the conversation.
Exactly.
Or maybe they're like, it's a different person than that jerk that called me last time.
Yeah. They like your voice.
Which is true. There's and I mean this with all humbleness and respect. There's levels to the game, right? There's levels. When you first start, you beat yourself up because like, man, this guy makes it look so easy or whatever. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about other people that I've seen. They make the phone calls look so easy, but you don't realize the struggle that they had to get to that result. So like now some days like I'll be on and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm booking everybody or I'm selling everybody and everything's good." But then there's also days where I'm off and I'm like, I'm not at my best. But the thing is, of being a veteran agent, I realize you still got to make the dials,
right?
No matter what, because we're all going to go through the same thing. So when you said that it started off rough, of course, it started off really rough, those leads that you sent, but it wasn't because necessarily of me. It just were maybe 30% were disconnected numbers,
right?
And
or people said they didn't fill it out. Or
it was
so full disclosure. Even though like we're talking about the successes that JP had with it, yeah, we had our moments in which he called me up and he was just like, "Bro, I'm getting beat up on some of these leads."
I was like, are these like real leads? Like, what's going on, man? I worked a lot of leads.
or he said, like, how old are these? So he questioned it a little bit at the beginning, which I'm like, I totally get it. I'm like, and so like me, I was kind of like Kevin O'Connell in that moment. I was just be like, "Hey, it's cool. They're old. Get whatever you can out of these."
And then you got to remember they're old too. And this is when I was thinking like, oh yeah, they could be a few years old or whatever. They can be 6 months old. That person could have changed their number. They could have. There's a lot of different things that could have happened. Maybe they didn't pay their phone bill. There's so many different things, and that's why that number is disconnected or going straight to voice or whatever. There's so many variables. So I took that factor out. I said, okay, let me not focus on that. Let me focus on the amount of people I'm actually talking to.
Right.
You see? And then, I mean,
Maybe you should have
number
deleted
just-
the wrong numbers.
no. I love, no.
You'll learn that real quick.
No. But actually, the previous agent, they didn't mark it that way. They were marking it as no answer or not interested.
Not the disconnected.
No, I didn't see too many of those. But actually, sorry, the first batch that I worked, they only worked maybe 20, 30 leads, and all the rest was blank.
Man.
Oh, I worked the leads.
So they probably gave up after a certain point.
They gave up. I know that they gave up because there was no more notes, or they just didn't want to leave the notes. I really, from what it felt like from working those leads again, it felt like they gave up after maybe the first 30, 40 leads.
Yeah, which I mean, if any of those agents are watching, which you're probably not, but I mean,
Doubt it.
We're calling you out. No, I'm just kidding.
if you gave up after 20, 30 calls, I mean, the thing is, I'm not mad at the agent for that, because it's like, either way, I mean, I was trying to help you out, and then it didn't work out, and that's fine. But the thing is, you missed out on potentially an opportunity to be able to make sales, because the thing is, one, either you gave up way too easily and you don't give yourself an opportunity to succeed, or you didn't do enough work to be able to get to the results that you wanted. Mm-hmm. So either way, that's flawed in that process. If you just kept going, and the thing is, you go all the way through, and then some agents have just made one pass through, and they're like, okay, can I get some more leads?
Need new leads.
And I'm like, back in my old company, and this is back in my day. Like, we walked uphill to school both ways.
We dialed through payphones.
That guy's actually funny. That guy's hilarious.
With a coin
I
of
know what you're talking
nickels.
But the thing is, like, we had 30 leads for the entire month.
Oh,
30 if you were nice, if he liked you.
Yeah. So you have to really work those leads. Oh yeah.
Out of the 30, you got to understand there's also disconnected numbers, people that are not interested.
People that tell you to F off.
Yeah, they've already taken care of it.
Right.
I truly, I know we're joking around, but I truly hope that this call gives some value or a lot of value to a lot of agents, because once you're here for a while, if you're not having some level of success, whatever level of success that is for you, you can start feeling jaded about the process, right? Because you're not getting that result. There's a different way. There's a shift. And I had this shift after, like, if I'm going to be real to everyone, it took me like a year before I was like, okay, I really got this. But then you still got to maintain your work ethic and your lead flow, right? So it took me a year. I was like, I got it now. I really got it, right? So I'm 4 years in the game now. So now I really got it when I dial. If I make a mistake, it's like, okay, no worries, next lead. Before, like I said, you would stick onto that emotion too long, like what John said, and you bring that into the next call. Or you self-doubt yourself, I was telling Albert, yesterday or probably 2 days ago, I was jumping around to other Zooms throughout FFL, not for, like, seeking information. I was just reassuring that everyone goes through the exact same thing. It doesn't matter if you're working leads on the East Coast, if you're on this team, if you're on that team, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same. The top agents and the people that are still here that I've noticed over the years are the ones that stick it through. Like, come on, man. It really is not that difficult. And as they always say, it's not that deep, because it's not. It's up to you to maintain that consistency in your business.
Right. Buying
leads, getting on the phone, setting appointments, or one call closes. Easy.
Yeah, and we were on the live Dallas talking about Jason's presentation.
Oh yeah, and then Terrence's. Shout out to Jason and Terrence.
Shout out my fellas. But I mean, we all said, like, what they self-admittedly said, nothing special. They don't feel it. But I'm like, that's how it should sound. Like, even without listening to other people, I'm like, that's how it should sound. Like, they took control. They followed a certain cadence. They went through the entire process. And then they didn't try to cut corners.
Yep.
Like, they went through everything. They built a little bit of rapport. Did the application. They were courteous. All this other stuff. Professional. So it doesn't require any special skill. It requires the special skill of you focusing and staying in the moment and continuing to do this process again and again and again and again till you got it down.
Yeah, and then it's funny that you mentioned that. If you're newer here, and I would say anyone under a year is newer here. If you're newer here and you feel like you're not having the results that you want, look into two different things. Number one, your skill set, and then number two, your lead flow. Either one of the two is off.
Right.
For me, it was never my skill set because I was so dedicated. I gotta So okay, so if my numbers are low, I know I'm just not dialing or buying enough leads, right?
And JP has no shortage of confidence. Let me just say,
I mean, I got confidence.
Not my skill set at all.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best
I'm
or
a
the worst.
closer.
I'm just saying
no, but I appreciate that.
No, it's just I'm not trying to sound cocky or arrogant. Like but when you do something repeatedly over and over and over again, it just becomes natural to where that's not it doesn't you don't think like you're not going to be able to do it. So even though I wasn't able to close any of the leads at first, I'm like, it's fine. Just keep going through it. You'll get some people. You're good to go. Before, I probably would have stopped, to keep it real with you. But that was when I first started. But now, I said, no, they didn't work them hard enough. Definitely get some leads. And I actually got more business pending from those leads too. So, and just to give you guys some hard numbers, just so you can have an idea.
Yeah, I was going to go over let's go over the results.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll keep this in the terms of families helped. So for the week, I dialed 954 times.
Okay.
Well, that was over 3 days. I
300 plus a day.
300 plus. I submitted 6 policies.
Nice.
I helped 8.5 families.
Nice.
But that was over 954 dials. That's over 3 days. So that's like, and I was dialing like 8-9 hours a day. So what, maybe 20 hours worth of work there? 24 hours, 20. So 24
by my math.
24. Yeah. So 24. I was
16,
never good at math.
24.
I was never really good at
borrow
math.
my fingers.
1 + 1 is 2. But if you think about it, let's just take a step back. Let's see how blessed we really are. 24 hours, I was able to help 8.5 families.
24 working hours of being on the phone. You're able to
Being on the phone,
8.5 families.
being active in my business, staying in the moment, right? I was able to help 8.5 families. Now, every family equals roughly $1,000 worth of commissionable business, that you get paid out.
Right.
So in 24 hours, if you break that down, 8.5. So if we do 8,500 divided by 12 by 24 hours, some terrible math, right?
Where's the quotes on that?
As long as you use quotes, you can say anything.
So I pretty much made $354 per hour that I worked on the phone. Come on, minus lead costs.
Which was nothing in this.
Nothing. I mean, no, I worked some of my leads too.
Okay.
I worked some of my leads too. No, they weren't all Al's leads. But
out of those families, though, did you put down how many sits or how many presentations or how many conversations you had?
okay, so that's one thing I didn't keep the metric of, because in my mind, remember, I just want to have 10 meaningful conversations. Just 10 presentations.
By meaningful conversations, do you mean you get all the way to the point where you're able to present a plan and
a
least a
full
quote?
presentation.
Okay, at least a quote.
A full presentation, at least a quote, and not where like they're rushing me off the phone, like trying to find the number. Like they actually told me why they needed, they gave me a little bit of what's going on in their life. And that's what I mean by meaningful. I'm trying to provide value into their life by showing them, hey, this policy is what's best for you. It'll protect your family. When you do die, it's not if, it's when you die. So that way they're not left with a burden.
I would even add a metric, like think about, so since you're saying about meaningful conversations, look into the sales you made. Yeah. See if you can go back to the phone number, click on that number, and see how long you've spoken to them. How many minutes to how many hours?
Okay, so
that what's a good sale?
Okay, I can break that down.
45 minutes. If you sold too quick, 15, 20, you might have sold that too quick, but kind of in the back of your head, this might cancel.
Yeah.
Did I not spend enough time on this?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I would admit to it, like I wouldn't be called slow, but I've spoken maybe for an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
With one client, right?
Yeah.
I would consider those really meaningful because like I've spent a good amount of time. They've asked a lot of questions, got it all the way through. I feel like those are solidified sales, right?
Oh, yeah. And, it's funny you mentioned that. I used to keep track of this a lot when I was doing live transfers. So I'll give you an example for live transfer. A quality sale and a live transfer call is 20 to 25 minutes. They know exactly what they're wanting. They're already interested. Otherwise they wouldn't be speaking to you. A call to close or an in-home, 40 minutes to an hour,
right
to go. Yeah. So it's a little bit longer of a close.
So to get those 8.5 families, how many sales would you say?
Oh, 6.
6.
That was 6 policies. Okay. Yeah.
So we did that math. So you did about how many calls? 954?
954.
Divided by 6. So you had to do about 159 dials to get to a sale.
It's not bad.
Right.
That's not bad. I know you were telling me, I'm not sure if it was Nick.
Yeah.
Nick was,
doing
saying
like
that.
200, I think.
Yeah, one every
Which is not too far
200.
off.
That's about
Within the
right.
range.
Yeah, that's about right. One, you dial 200 times, you get a close. I like to think in terms of leads. I know if I buy 100 leads, old or new, bare minimum, I'll get one deal. And then if I know I'm doing really well that week and things are just flowing, I'll get 3 to 4 deals out of 100 leads minimum. Sometimes
Well, how many
you get more.
dials do you think you'll need to do for the 100 leads?
It
Did you
depends.
dial 100 leads 900 times, or you had more?
At
leads
least,
than that? Okay.
at least, because you got to remember one dial, and then also too, you got to factor in the times a day that you're dialing.
Right.
You got to factor in are you dialing when people are at home when they can actually pick up, or are you dialing people who are at work and they're actually at work and they can't answer? I have to kind of factor this in, so don't get beat up if someone's not answering. You're dialing at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. They might be in the middle of their workday. Now, if they're 80 years old, they're probably home.
Right.
So hit them up first thing in the morning before they go to their doctor's appointments, or a little bit maybe around 4 or 5. These are some of the factors that I think about, so that way I don't let the numbers beat me up if I'm not getting too many pickups. Right. It could be so many different variations of what's going on.
Plus, I think agents definitely need to recognize, all right, I try calling this set of leads around this time of the day. Mark it down. The next day you call them a different set, a different time. Because the thing is, if you're calling, and there's agents, which you're self-employed, you run your own business. The agents that want to go to the gym first, they wake up late, then they start calling at 11. And what about all the people that left for go to work already? You've missed all of them.
What if you're in Pacific time? You're 11 o'clock, so they're 2 p.m.
Yeah, right.
You've killed the
Middle
whole
day,
half
they're
day.
picking up their kids or grandkids or whatever.
That's true.
You're never going to get a hold of them. You keep calling them at the same time because you won't change your work schedule because it's not convenient for you. Which is, if it's working for you, don't change it. But if you're trying to get some different results, then the thing is, you got to get uncomfortable. Got to call earlier, call later, switch it up.
Yeah,
that's how you get to the results that you want.
yeah, I 100% agree. Think about it in terms of this too. I don't really shop at Walmart. I not to say anything bad about Walmart,
Okay,
but think about it this way too, bro.
Okay, JP.
He's all, you're Tarjay. Think about it this way.
You're a Coles type of person.
Walmart, bro. They're open from 5 o'clock to midnight at most places.
Some are
24.
Sometimes
24.
Yeah,
some
some are
places
24.
24 hours.
Yeah.
So Walmart gives himself the opportunity to sell 24 hours a day. Yet you're giving yourself 3 hours of your business window of dialing the phones. That's when you're going to make sales.
Right.
Think in terms of the big picture. Even after I get off this call, I'm going to make dials because I need to add. Even though I made sales today, there's still more people that I can reach throughout the day. And I'll give you an example. When I first started here, I was so bad on the phones that I used to dial in the next office from 7 o'clock. Derek was here from 7 o'clock to 7 p.m. every single dial day. No exceptions.
Yeah.
7 o'clock or 7:30 to 7 p.m.
What time did you come into the office today?
Today a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
John calling
Okay, JP.
He's like,
Seven
no,
7 o'clock.
No, I said when I first started. So, but that's because I knew I needed to put more time into my business. So I literally spent 10 hours on the phone just trying to learn the phones, trying to figure out what's a good tonality to talk to people, how to listen to people. Now, the best people who close business are not the people who talk the best, but people who listen the best. You know that? So what I mentioned with that call, which I hope a lot of you guys heard that call with this lady that I was able to help in Texas with Aetna, is that I was able to listen to her. A lot of you guys would have rushed her off the phone, or you would have cut her short instead of letting her tell her story. And that's why you wouldn't have got the business. She felt comfortable with me, so she allowed me to help her with this new policy. We cut ourselves off. We cut people off that, they don't get to talk to too many people. She's 85 years old. She was happy telling me that her husband bought her last home cash and they bought their car cash and he was really financially responsible and, all the nice things he did for her. And I was like, that was really cool. Instead of me just trying to oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah. And then what's your date of birth again? No, just listen to people. Listen to what they're giving you, because those pieces of information is what's going to get you the sale. They're going to feel comfortable enough to do business with you.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean that's also the reason why I decided to volunteer these leads to JP, because like it had nothing to do with like I think he's the best closer in the world. No offense,
I'm not.
and I'm
decent.
and I'm not even saying like he's the most reliable person in the world.
No, I'm not.
But no, the reason why I
What are
give
you trying to say about
because-
JP? He's not reliable.
No, my point is this. I thought of JP with these leads because I'm like, all right, well, I need to give it to somebody that number one needs them at the moment, because you wanted to pick up your schedule and keep yourself really busy, because we talked about that. So we have ongoing communication throughout, and then also I'm like, I know that he's going to work them thoroughly.
Oh yeah.
I'm not so much concerned about like how much can I make off of this. It's more like I want these to get worked, because I don't feel like they were worked properly, and there's still people that have filled in a request at some point that have not been helped.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I'm like, I just want to give it to someone that's going to be thorough with it. I don't care what happens to it, but I know mathematically, because I've been doing this for this long, if someone works them, then they continue to call them and they actually work it, sales will be made.
That's true.
There's just no other way around it. Mm-hmm. And so before we wrap, I just want to finish with a quote that Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, said. He just said, throughout the turmoil of that entire game, all the back and forth, and where it seemed like it was like a hopeless endeavor, he just said, I just feel like my role and my job is to lead. It's not always the scheme. It's not always about scheming. It's not just about drawing stuff up on a whiteboard. It's in those moments when you got to show up for the guys the way that you asked them to show up for you. You better be doing it yourself. Okay, so the thing is, like, he was talking about staying in the moment and not freaking out, and because he set the tone for the rest of the team. And I brought up Josh Dobbs too, is because the only way they won that game had to be someone out there doing the work, and someone out there sacrificing his body, sacrificing whatever, and getting over his own emotions, and not staying in that moment, even though he messed up three big times in the game earlier. So they just kept pushing. The reason why that actually worked out, aside from the rest of the team that obviously contributed in their own respect, because it takes an entire team for that to win, but Kevin O'Connell, his demeanor, Josh Dobbs, and his performance and his mindset, success is a team sport. Mm-hmm. And that was my point that I wanted to make. And this is obviously a very small microcosm of JP and I, being able to help each other out in our respective ways, and utilizing one another's strengths and resources. And that's the thing that you need to figure out for yourself, because all of you guys can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you don't have, you could throw two things at something to make it work, right? You either throw money at it or you throw time at it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then typically one person has more of one than the other. Mm-hmm. So you got to find the other person, and then not just expect them to feel entitled, but think about, how do I present myself to them and show them value that I can provide for them, and make them want to work with me.
Yeah. And then think about it this way too, and I'm going to be very direct. If you're working someone else's leads and they've spent money on them, do a fair split. Don't be so greedy, like it's all mine. It's all, because I've noticed that with agents, like everything's about me. It's like, no, it's a team effort. It's like there wasn't a, like, what split do you want? It's like, no, man, you get half of the deal. Like, that's okay. And some of us are, and I used to think of it too, like, oh, I'm the one closing the deal, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, once you get over yourself and you let your ego go, like, we're all on the same team, man. Like, your upline, if they're helping you out and they're willing to help you with your lead flow and they're willing to help guide you and just keep feeding you leads, then do what's right. Don't be so quick to just be all about yourself. And a lot of agents do that.
That's
a lot. So I'm not trying to call no one out. I'm not trying to say anything negative, but just be a team player, man. That's all I'm saying.
But that's happened plenty of times with me. I've provided leads out, and then they said they're gonna give a split, and then they sold, and then, which I'm happy for them, and then they're like, oh, but I forgot to do it, or no, it was a referral or whatever. Look, it's not gonna change my life, but the thing is, I can't really trust you that much to that degree. So you're not the person I'm gonna be looking to help in the same way in the future. I'm not against you. I'm not going to try to come back after you, but you're losing out on an opportunity for you to continue a mutually beneficial relationship, and that's just the point.
Yeah, Yeah, you say it way more eloquently than I did.
I've had it happen more times. Maybe.
Yeah, probably way more. It was just saying like, hey, be a team player, guys. You know, go out there, and if you have a team, if you have extra leads, you're providing, you know, leads to your team. You know, all you guys working together, provide the proper splits, take care of each other, help each other. You know, because nothing's free. You know, I don't know how much he paid for those leads at the time, but it was a resource that took away from his current business. He needs to get recoup some money from that. You know, I've done the same thing with agents I've helped before where we weren't able to recoup the money that I spent on the lead. So it means a lot when you're able to, you know, give out something that you thought was dead and you're able to recoup some back from your business. Right. And it means a lot for me too. You know, now I have even more leads coming in from the already lead platform I'm working. Cool. So it works out perfect. You know?
Awesome. Well, great stuff. Remember, guys, stay in the moment. You know, enjoy what you got. Be mindful about what you have right directly in front of you. Make the most of it, so this way you don't continue to get haunted by stuff in the past that is done. You can't change it. And then don't let the prospect of what it might happen in the future, you know, dictate your moves, because that may never come the way that you expect it because you're not putting in the work right now. So remember, stay in the moment. JP, appreciate you. Happy birthday, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you to everyone that was on here. So let's go out there, be mindful. Let's stay in the moment. Let's make the most of it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys taking the time. If you guys enjoyed what you guys saw, you know, please like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Also, if you guys have any future topics that you'd like us to address in the future, we're here to try to provide value for you guys, just like you're providing value to us. Appreciate y'all.